Our first subject is perhaps the most tempting and ubiquitous presence in our modern diet: sugar. In the natural world, sweetness is a signal, a promise of energy. A ripe fruit, bursting with fructose, provides a quick and vital source of fuel for a foraging animal. But the refined sugars that permeate our processed foods are a different beast entirely. They offer an overwhelming, concentrated rush, one that the ecosystems within us are not evolved to handle, especially when they are in a fragile, post-antibiotic state. Imagine, if you will, the gut after a course of antibiotics. The once thriving populations of beneficial bacteria have been drastically reduced. The landscape is sparse, open for resettlement. It is in this vulnerable state that a sudden influx of sugar arrives. This is not a gentle rain, but a deluge, and certain organisms are uniquely equipped to thrive in such conditions. Pathogenic bacteria and yeasts, like Candida, possess a voracious appetite for simple sugars. This flood of sweetness is their opportunity. They can multiply with astonishing speed, far outpacing the slower, more methodical regrowth of the beneficial species we so desperately need. It is a land rush, and the bad actors, fueled by sugar, are the most aggressive settlers. They quickly claim territory, establishing strongholds that can be difficult to dislodge later. This can lead to a condition known as dysbiosis, an imbalance in the gut flora that can cause a host of new problems. The consequences of this imbalance are not merely abstract. This overgrowth of sugar-loving microbes can lead to bloating, gas, and discomfort. But it goes deeper. These organisms can produce toxins that irritate the lining of the gut, contributing to inflammation. This inflammation is precisely what we want to avoid during a period of healing. It is like trying to regrow a forest while small fires are constantly breaking out, scorching the new saplings. Furthermore, this battle for dominance within the gut is a zero-sum game. The more resources and space consumed by these opportunistic pathogens, the less is available for the beneficial bacteria. Species like Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium, which are crucial for our health, are simply outcompeted. They are crowded out, their recovery stunted by the aggressive sugar-fueled growth of their rivals. So, when we consume sugary drinks, sweets, pastries, and even seemingly innocent foods with hidden sugars like certain sauces and cereals, we are not feeding ourselves. We are, in effect, feeding the very organisms we wish to suppress. We are providing ammunition to the enemy at a time when our own defences are at their weakest. It is a strategic error in the campaign to restore our inner ecosystem. The inflammation caused by this process can also hinder the gut's ability to repair itself. The gut lining is a remarkable barrier, only one cell thick, yet it stands between the contents of our intestines and our bloodstream. Antibiotics can sometimes compromise this barrier, and the inflammation driven by sugar and pathogenic microbes can prevent it from healing effectively, potentially leading to what is often called leaky gut. This is why avoiding concentrated sources of sugar is so critical. We must starve the opportunists. We must deny them the fuel they need to proliferate. Instead of a sugary dessert, consider the gentle sweetness of a small portion of low-sugar fruit, which also provides fibre, a topic we will touch upon later. The fibre acts as a slow-release fuel source, one that is far more beneficial for the microbes we want to encourage. Think of it as tending a garden. After clearing the weeds with a powerful tool, you would not then fertilize the soil with something that encourages new weeds to grow even faster. Instead, you would carefully prepare the soil and plant the seeds of the flowers and vegetables you wish to cultivate. Avoiding sugar after antibiotics is precisely this: refusing to fertilize the weeds. It requires a period of vigilance. Reading labels becomes an act of self-preservation, a way of protecting this delicate, recovering internal environment. It is about understanding that what we introduce into our system has profound and immediate consequences for the trillions of lives that depend on us, and upon which we, in turn, depend. By making this simple conscious choice to avoid excess sugar, we create a landscape that is far more hospitable to the return of our allies. We give the beneficial bacteria a fighting chance to re-establish their colonies, to rebuild their communities, and to restore the harmonious balance that is the very foundation of good health. It is the first and perhaps most important step on the path to recovery. We now turn our attention to another titan of the modern diet: processed foods. These are the products of industrial ingenuity, designed for convenience, for long shelf life, and for a specific engineered palatability. They fill the aisles of our supermarkets, packaged in bright colours, promising ease and flavour. Yet, in the context of a recovering gut, they represent a barren landscape, offering little of the nourishment our microbial allies so desperately need. What defines a processed food? It is food that has been altered from its natural state. This can involve the addition of preservatives, artificial colours, emulsifiers, and flavour enhancers. It often involves the removal of vital components, most notably fibre. A grain of wheat, for example, is milled into white flour, its fibrous bran and nutrient-rich germ stripped away, leaving only the starchy endosperm. This process creates a product that is easy to digest for us, but a poor food source for our gut bacteria. Our beneficial microbes, particularly the ones we want to encourage, are specialists in fermenting complex carbohydrates, the very fibres that are so often removed from processed foods. These fibres are their primary food source. When we consume a diet rich in whole, unprocessed foods, we are providing a feast for these microscopic partners. But when we rely on processed items, we are effectively starving them. Imagine a diverse ecosystem of animals, each adapted to feed on different types of plants, roots and leaves. Now, replace that entire forest with a single uniform crop that most of those animals cannot eat. The ecosystem would collapse. This is analogous to what happens in our gut when our diet is dominated by processed foods. The diversity of our microbiome plummets as only a few species can survive on the simple starches and sugars that remain. Furthermore, many of the additives used in processed foods can be directly detrimental to our gut health. Emulsifiers, for instance, which are used to improve the texture of foods like ice cream and mayonnaise, have been shown in studies to alter the gut microbiome. They can erode the protective mucus layer that lines the intestines, bringing bacteria into closer contact with the gut wall and potentially triggering inflammation. This is a critical point. During the recovery phase after antibiotics, the gut lining is already in a sensitive state. Introducing substances that can further irritate it or degrade its natural defences is counterproductive. It is like trying to rebuild a sea wall while simultaneously introducing a chemical that dissolves the mortar. The structure is weakened, less able to withstand the pressures it must endure. Consider also the nature of the fats and salts in these foods. They are often present in high concentrations and in forms that are pro-inflammatory. Trans fats, often found in baked goods and margarines, are particularly notorious for this. A high intake of sodium can also alter the gut environment, creating conditions that are less favourable for the beneficial bacteria we are trying to cultivate. The lack of micronutrients in highly processed foods is another significant factor. Vitamins and minerals, which are abundant in whole foods, act as cofactors for countless biological processes, including the maintenance of a healthy immune system and the repair of tissues. When our diet consists of empty calories from processed sources, we deprive our body of the very building blocks it needs to heal itself and to support the regrowth of a healthy gut. Let us return to our garden analogy. A processed food is like a sterile artificial potting mix. It might support a single, simple plant for a short time, but it lacks the rich web of life found in natural soil, the earthworms, the fungi, the myriad microorganisms that create a truly fertile and resilient environment. To rebuild our internal garden, we need to provide it with rich natural compost, not sterile dust. This means consciously choosing foods in their most natural form. An apple instead of apple juice, a baked potato instead of French fries, a piece of grilled chicken instead of a reconstituted chicken nugget. Each of these choices provides not only the macronutrients but also the fibre, the phytonutrients, and the complex structures that our gut microbiome is designed to interact with. So, in the weeks following a course of antibiotics, it is wise to walk past the brightly coloured boxes and packages. Seek out the periphery of the supermarket, where the fresh produce, the whole grains, and the unprocessed meats reside. This simple act of navigation is a profound act of nurturing for the delicate, invisible world within you, a world that is working tirelessly to recover its balance and restore its vibrant, life-sustaining diversity. We now arrive at a substance that is deeply embedded in many cultures, often associated with relaxation and social connection: alcohol. While it may offer a temporary sense of ease for a gut in the process of healing, alcohol acts not as a friend, but as a potent irritant. Its effects on the delicate internal ecosystem, particularly after the disruption of antibiotics, are significant and multifaceted, and must be understood if we are to achieve a full recovery. The first and most direct impact of alcohol is on the very lining of our gastrointestinal tract. From the moment it is consumed, alcohol begins to exert a solvent-like effect on the cells it touches. It can directly damage the epithelial cells of the stomach and intestines, the frontline defenders of our internal border. This damage can increase the permeability of the gut wall, a condition we have touched upon, often referred to as leaky gut. Imagine the gut lining as a tightly woven fabric, protecting what lies beneath. Alcohol acts like a corrosive agent, fraying the threads and creating tiny holes. When the gut is already in a sensitive state post-antibiotics, this effect is amplified. It allows substances that should be contained within the gut, such as undigested food particles, toxins, and even bacteria, to pass into the bloodstream, where they can trigger an immune response and widespread inflammation. This inflammatory response is the body's alarm system, but when it is constantly triggered, it becomes a source of chronic stress, hindering healing rather than helping it. Consuming alcohol while the gut is trying to repair itself is akin to repeatedly striking a healing wound. It prevents the tissues from knitting back together and prolongs the recovery period, leaving the entire system in a state of heightened alert and distress. Beyond this direct physical damage, alcohol also has a profound impact on the microbial community itself. It can alter the composition of the gut flora, promoting the overgrowth of certain pathogenic bacteria while suppressing the populations of beneficial ones. In essence, alcohol consumption contributes to the very state of dysbiosis that we are trying so hard to correct after a course of antibiotics. It selectively fertilizes the weeds in our internal garden. Furthermore, let us not forget the liver. This vital organ is our primary detoxification center, and it is responsible for processing both alcohol and the remnants of many medications, including antibiotics. When we consume alcohol, we place an additional burden on the liver, diverting its resources away from the crucial tasks of healing and cleansing the body. It is like asking a single worker to do two demanding jobs at once. Neither will be done as efficiently or as well. This diversion of resources can also interfere with the effectiveness of the antibiotics themselves or any other medications one might be taking. The metabolic pathways used to break down alcohol can overlap with those used for drugs. This can either lead to the medication being cleared from the body too quickly, reducing its efficacy, or too slowly, increasing the risk of side effects and toxicity. It is a dangerous and unpredictable interaction. The impact on digestion is also notable. Alcohol can slow down stomach emptying and alter the production of digestive enzymes. This means that food sits in the digestive tract for longer, where it can ferment and produce gas, leading to bloating, discomfort, and indigestion. For a system that is already struggling to regain its normal function, this added digestive stress is an unwelcome burden. Consider the delicate balance of fluids and electrolytes in the body. Alcohol is a diuretic, meaning it promotes water loss through urination. This can lead to dehydration, which can, in turn, lead to constipation, further complicating the digestive process and adding to the discomfort of a recovering gut. Every system in the body is interconnected, and the disruption caused by alcohol ripples outwards. Even in small amounts during this critical recovery window, alcohol can be a significant obstacle. It is not about a lifetime of abstinence, but about a strategic, temporary withdrawal. It is about recognizing that the body is engaged in a monumental task of repair and regeneration, and it requires all the support we can give it. Providing a calm, non-inflammatory environment is paramount. Therefore, the wisest course of action is to completely avoid alcohol while taking antibiotics, and for a significant period afterwards, weeks, not days. This allows the gut lining to fully repair. It gives the liver the space it needs to function optimally, and it creates an environment where the beneficial bacteria can re-establish themselves without the disruptive influence of this potent chemical. Replace that glass of wine or beer with water, herbal tea, or a clear broth. This simple substitution is a powerful act of kindness to your recovering body. Our exploration now leads us to a food group that is a staple for many, often seen as a cornerstone of a healthy diet: dairy products. Milk, cheese and yogurt are celebrated for their calcium and protein content. However, for a gut that is navigating the delicate aftermath of an antibiotic regimen, the relationship with dairy can become complicated and in some cases counterproductive to the healing process. The primary concern with dairy revolves around two main components: lactose and certain minerals, particularly calcium. Firstly, let's consider lactose, the sugar naturally found in milk. To digest lactose, our bodies require an enzyme called lactase, which is produced in the small intestine. The health and integrity of the cells that produce lactase are crucial for this process. When we take antibiotics, especially broad-spectrum ones, they can cause inflammation and temporary damage to the lining of the small intestine. This can reduce the production of the lactase enzyme. The result is a temporary acquired lactose intolerance. Even for individuals who normally digest dairy without any issue, this can suddenly become a problem. When undigested lactose travels further down the digestive tract, it becomes a food source for gas-producing bacteria in the colon. This fermentation process can lead to a host of uncomfortable symptoms: bloating, painful gas, cramping, and diarrhea. Introducing dairy into a system in this state is like asking a sprained ankle to run a marathon. The capacity simply isn't there, and the attempt only causes more stress and discomfort. This is not a permanent condition. As the gut lining heals and the microbiome rebalances, the ability to produce lactase typically returns to normal. However, during that crucial recovery phase, bombarding the gut with something it cannot properly process only adds to the inflammation and irritation, slowing down the overall healing. It is a matter of timing and allowing the system the gentle environment it needs to repair. The second, and perhaps more critical, issue involves the interaction between dairy products and the antibiotics themselves. Dairy is famously rich in calcium. While this mineral is essential for bone health, it has a particular chemical property. It can bind to certain types of antibiotics in the stomach and upper intestine. This process is known as chelation. When calcium binds with an antibiotic molecule, it forms a new, larger compound that the body cannot easily absorb. This effectively reduces the dose of the medication that enters your bloodstream. The antibiotic becomes less effective, or, in some cases, almost completely ineffective. You may be taking your medication exactly as prescribed, but if you are consuming it with a glass of milk or a bowl of yogurt, you may not be getting the therapeutic benefit you need. This applies specifically to certain classes of antibiotics, most notably tetracyclines like doxycycline and fluoroquinolones like ciprofloxacin. It is absolutely essential to read the instructions that come with your medication, or, better yet, to have a clear conversation with your doctor or pharmacist about any food interactions. They will advise you on the necessary window of time to leave between taking your pill and consuming dairy products, often a few hours. Beyond these two primary concerns, some individuals find that dairy, particularly high-fat versions like full-fat cheese and cream, can be heavy and slow to digest. During a period when the digestive system is already under strain, these rich foods can contribute to a feeling of sluggishness and discomfort, placing an additional burden on the gut and the liver. So, what is the prudent approach? During and immediately after a course of antibiotics, it may be wise to temporarily reduce or eliminate dairy from your diet. This gives the intestinal lining time to heal and restore its lactase production. It also removes the risk of interfering with the absorption of your medication, ensuring you receive its full intended benefit. There are many alternatives available. Plant-based milks, such as almond, oat or soy milk, can be used, provided they are unsweetened to avoid the sugar issue we discussed earlier. If you do wish to reintroduce dairy, start slowly. A small amount of plain live culture yogurt can be a good starting point, as the fermentation process partially breaks down the lactose and it provides beneficial probiotics. But listen to your body. If it causes discomfort, it is a clear signal to wait a little longer. This period of caution is a small investment for a much smoother and more complete recovery. Our final chapter brings us to foods that many find deeply satisfying, the crispy, rich offerings of the fryer and the skillet-fried and fatty foods. From French fries to fried chicken, these items hold a powerful allure. However, for a gut that is in a state of recovery, these foods represent a significant digestive burden capable of exacerbating imbalance and inflammation and slowing the path back to health. The primary difficulty with these foods lies in their very nature. The process of deep frying saturates food with oil, and a high concentration of fat, especially certain types of fat, is notoriously difficult for the body to digest. The digestion of fat is a complex process, requiring ample bile from the liver and gallbladder, as well as lipase enzymes from the pancreas. It is a demanding task for a digestive system even at its peak. After a course of antibiotics, the entire gastrointestinal system can be sluggish and inflamed. The liver may already be working hard to process the medication. In this weakened state, presenting the gut with a heavy high-fat meal is like asking a tired labourer to lift a very heavy weight. The system struggles to cope. This can lead to indigestion, feelings of excessive fullness, nausea, and even diarrhea, as the body attempts to expel what it cannot properly process. This type of fatty diarrhea, known as steatorrhea, is a clear sign that fat is not being absorbed correctly. It indicates that the digestive system is overwhelmed. This not only causes discomfort, but also means you are not absorbing the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K that may be present in the meal, further depriving your body of essential nutrients needed for repair. Furthermore, the types of fats involved are often problematic. Many fried foods are cooked in vegetable oils that are high in omega-6 fatty acids. While some omega-6 is necessary, an excessive intake, especially relative to anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids, can promote a pro-inflammatory state throughout the body. This is the exact opposite of the calm, healing environment we want to create for our recovering gut. The high temperatures used in frying can also alter the chemical structure of fats, creating compounds that are even more inflammatory and difficult for the body to handle. These damaged fats can place additional oxidative stress on our cells, including the delicate cells lining the gut. It is adding insult to an existing injury, provoking the very inflammation we are trying to quell. Consider the effect on the gut microbiome. A diet high in these types of fats can shift the balance of gut bacteria. It tends to favor the growth of microbes that are associated with inflammation and metabolic problems, while disadvantaging the beneficial fiber-fermenting bacteria that we wish to encourage. It alters the terrain of our internal ecosystem, making it less hospitable for our allies. This is not to say that all fats are to be avoided. In fact, healthy fats are crucial for our well-being. Anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids found in oily fish like salmon, walnuts and flax seeds can actively support the healing process. Healthy monounsaturated fats found in avocados and olive oil are also beneficial. The distinction is critical. It is the source and the preparation of the fat that matters. A piece of salmon, gently baked with a drizzle of olive oil, provides fats that help to reduce inflammation. A piece of fish that has been battered and deep-fried in refined vegetable oil provides fats that do the opposite. The choice between these two preparations has a profound impact on the messages we are sending to our body and our gut microbiome. So, during this period of recovery, it is essential to be gentle with your digestive system. Steer clear of the deep fryer. Avoid foods that are visibly greasy or swimming in oil. Choose lighter cooking methods, baking, steaming, grilling, or poaching. Focus on incorporating sources of healthy fats in moderation, as they will provide the building blocks for cell repair without overwhelming your system. By avoiding the heavy burden of fried and fatty foods, you are lightening the load on your entire digestive tract. You are reducing inflammatory triggers and creating a more favorable environment for your beneficial gut bacteria to thrive. This allows your body to direct its precious energy not towards a difficult digestive battle, but towards the vital and intricate work of healing. So, we have journeyed through the landscape of the recovering gut, observing the challenges posed by certain foods. We have seen how sugar can fuel the wrong kind of life, how processed foods can starve our allies, and how alcohol acts as a direct irritant. We have understood the complications that dairy can introduce and the heavy burden that fried and fatty foods can place upon a system that is already under strain. By consciously avoiding these 5 groups, we do more than simply prevent discomfort. We actively participate in the restoration of a vital, intricate ecosystem within us. This guidance is intended to help you navigate the path to recovery, but it is crucial to remember that each of us is unique. Your body, your history, and your specific medical situation require a personalized approach. Please always consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare professional. They can provide advice tailored to your individual needs and ensure your recovery is as safe and effective as possible. They are your most important partners on this journey back to wellness. Thank you for joining me today. It is my sincerest wish that this knowledge empowers you to nurture your body with care and wisdom. May you listen to its quiet signals, provide it with the nourishment it needs, and grant it the peaceful environment required for healing. I wish you a swift return to balance, vitality, and above all, good health.